Good morning, bud. How was your night? Mine was pretty good. Got a good night's sleep. Got into this rut where I stay up too late and then get up too late. So I've tried to stay up real late and get up real early. So I'm tired. I'm trying to change this rut. You know, I was always getting in trouble in school. I remember back in the sixth grade, we had this math teacher. Great big guy. He used to play football for the Chicago Bears. And he had these little things he'd do. He was always real nervous. And he like that with his lips all the time. If he'd get real mad and real frustrated, he'd turn all red and he'd run over to his desk and he'd slam his ass down in the seat and yelling at me and stuff all the time. So I remember this one time he had done something to make me really mad. I decided I was going to get even with him. So I took and put a whole bunch of tacks on his chair, sharp point up, and I proceeded to just flat get on his nerves and make him mad. And he got all pissed off and he went running over to his chair and slammed his ass down in the chair and jumped up in the air. It's a screaming and everybody just got real quiet and he looked over at me and he goes, "Wolf!" And I took off running all the way down the hall. I knew where I was supposed to be going. I went straight to the principal's office, went in there and shut the door. She looks up at me and says, "Okay, now what did you do, Wayne?" I proceeded to tell her. I knew I was in trouble. I was caught this time. And besides, if I told her, that would keep him from getting his hands on me. He was big. I remember back in the seventh grade, walking to school because I'd missed the bus, and I ran across this ditch, or that's a canal, runs to the center of town, and looked down there, and there's this little water snake. I figured, hey, cool. So I went down, I grabbed the water snake, playing with him, walking to school, and I decided, hey, this will be good. This will be good. So I'd get into the classroom just a little bit early, and I'd put that snake inside of one of the girls' desks. The girl, she'd come over, she'd open up the desk, there's that snake. She'd just be screaming and screaming, and I'd say, "Here, I'll get it for you, I'll get it for you." I'd walk over and get the snake out, the girl would be all nice and happy and stuff, and I'd leave the room, go put it in my locker, come back and say, "I threw it outside." Teacher, "Thank you, Wayne, thank you." So about the third time of doing that, these teachers had already gotten together and started talking, and they caught on. So I went back to my locker. I was going to grab this snake and put it in this girl's desk. In the fourth period, the locker, it wasn't there. There's nowhere to be found. I looked through it really good. I figured, well, somehow it got out and it's running around somewhere here in the school, and I'll definitely hear about it. So it was the end of the fourth period, and all of a sudden I heard these girls screaming down the hall. I figured, they found my snake. I went walking by, and they're all sitting there going, "What is that? What is that?" And looking down, I figured this time I'm just going to stay away. So I walked on by. One of the teachers was standing there with all these girls. And I walked up to my locker and opened up my locker, and they'd taken the snake out and put the son of a bitch back in. I opened up that locker, and there it was, staring me straight in the face, and I about shit my pants. I started screaming like a little girl. Turned around, and all these girls and a couple of the teachers standing back there just laughing. They pulled a prank on me. They got back at me real good. That was just some of the trouble I used to get into at school. I remember one time we the new little Hondas, the little tiny Honda Civics that just came out. And this was back when they first came out years ago. Little tiny, easy to lift things. And over at the high school, we had these steps went way up. There must have been 50, 60 steps, a small one. And then a big landing at the top. So me and three other guys, we decided we was going to pull one over on the teachers. He drove one of these little Hondas. So we picked that son of a bitch up and we carried it to the top of the steps. Set it up there on the landing. Final bell rang and everybody was gone. There was no one there to help him get it down. We just all left. It was funny. Sitting there watching, trying to figure out how to get it down. Finally got a tow truck. They came and lifted it up and helped him get it down. We was pretty proud of ourselves. The next day we says, hey, we deserve a break. So we took off, skipped class, ran into town. He's my buddy's, he was driving his it was a Cuda, had a new Cuda. No, it was a Firebird. He had an old Firebird. Me and 3 other guys, we took off. We went in town, was going to have coffee and stuff, and then come back after the end of the period. So we sat there and had all of our coffee, and we all got back in to his Firebird. Said, okay, it's time to head down the road. This is a pretty fast little Firebird, and this guy, he could never keep his foot out of the carburetor. He was always trying to go fast, burn tires, or what. I won't mention any names. He ended up having 4 or 5 wrecks in his life. And we took off out of that parking lot and going down the street, and he's burning the tires, and everybody's saying, woo! And I looked up, and here comes a train. It's one of those tracks that just go right across the street downtown. It's just a train that goes over to the spud cellar. So it's not going very fast, and usually not there in the road. There was that train. They didn't see it. I yelled, duck! He's driving the car, and he goes, quack! About the time he went, quack! We hit the train. Hit the very corner of that train, in the very center of the front end of our car. We was only going, well, the train was only doing about 20, 25. We, no telling how fast we was going. He'd been burning the tires. They said there was a good 100-foot burnout there just before we hit the train. Boy, that was the best high I ever had in my life. All natural high. Bent the car all up. We all got out of the car safely. We looked at each other. And, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And that went on for a good 15, 20 minutes. Then we had to go back to school. Principal come down and grabbed us. And he says, I heard about your new adventure. And he says, you guys got anything else you want to admit to? I says, no, sir. No, sir. He says, nothing about a little car being on the steps. I says, oh, no, sir. I heard about that. That was a misfortune thing. And he says, yeah, Wolf. He says, don't let it happen again. And so we got detention, 4 hours, 2 hours a night, 2 nights in a row. So it's, I was always finding some way to get in trouble, as was my sons. I could tell you about all kinds of stories about them, but I probably better confirm it with them first, let them know I'm going to, so they don't get too embarrassed when you approach them and say, hey, I heard you did this, Noah. Hey, Brandon, I know you did this. Stephen, why would you have done that? I tell you, those boys were a handful. Just like my 2 grandboys and the granddaughter now. They're both, all 3 of them, handfuls. I got some stories about them, too. All right, I've got to go. You have a good day, bud. Wolfman Wayne telling you to live their life to the fullest. It's short. Bye.